you've been researching GMAT prep and you keep coming across two different things, the GMAT Focus Edition and the GMAT, and you're wondering whether these are different tests or whether you need to pick one, here's the answer. They are the same exam. The classic GMAT, the one with 4 sections, the optional essay and the old 200 to 800 scoring scale, was retired back in January 2024. Nobody can take that version anymore. What replaced it was called the GMAT Focus Edition, and in mid-2024, GMAT quietly dropped the word Focus Edition and went back to simply calling it the GMAT. Same exam, simpler name. So why am I making a video comparing a version of the test that no longer exists? Because GMAT scores are valid for a period of 5 years. So people who took the exam when the classic GMAT version was still an option, especially before 2024, are still eligible to apply to B schools with the old GMAT score, which means B schools will be continuing to accept the old GMAT score at least until end of 2028 or early 2029, 5 years from when the exam was last accessible. That is why even though the old GMAT version exam cannot be taken anymore, a huge amount of GMAT advice still floating around online, blog posts, YouTube videos, including one of my own, especially for college admissions, is based on the old exam. Colleges are still referencing the average exam scores for both classic GMAT format and the GMAT Focus Edition format, which can be quite confusing to anyone foraying into the MBA world. And if you accidentally prepare using that outdated information, you could end up studying the wrong topics, misjudging your timing, or setting score targets that don't even make sense anymore. Welcome back to my channel. I am Madhuri, an ISB alumna and your go-to person for all things GMAT, MBA and higher education. If you are new here, subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay tuned for more upcoming videos. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly what changed in the GMAT exam, why it changed, and most importantly, how it should shape your prep strategy if you are starting today. Let's get started. The classic GMAT had 4 sections: analytical writing assessment, where you wrote a 30-minute essay analyzing an argument; integrated reasoning, a section with data-based questions; quantitative reasoning and verbal reasoning. But only 2 of those 4 sections actually contributed to the main score. The scoring scale went from 200 to 800. The essay and the integrated reasoning section were reported separately on a scale of 5 and 8 respectively. Now let's talk about what has changed in the GMAT Focus Edition that replaced the old exam. The analytical writing assessment, that 30-minute essay, has been removed entirely. There is no writing section on the current GMAT, so if your prep materials still have an AWA section, that material is outdated. Business schools that want a writing sample now rely entirely on your application essays instead. Sentence correction has gone from verbal. If you have heard older GMAT test takers talk about memorizing modifier rules, parallelisms, structures, or subject-verb agreement drills, that entire question type doesn't exist anymore. Verbal reasoning now focuses on reading comprehension and critical reasoning only. This is one of the most significant relief points for many test takers because sentence correction was the most rule-heavy, memorization-driven part of the old exam. Geometry has been removed from quant, so coordinate geometry, shapes, area, volume are no longer tested. Quant is now built around arithmetic, algebra, and word problems. Integrated reasoning has been replaced by data insights, and this is the part that most people misunderstand. A lot of test takers assume data insights is just the old integrated reasoning section with a new name. It's not. Data Insights pulls in some question types from the old integrated reasoning section, yes, but it also tests data sufficiency style reasoning, which was earlier a part of the quant section. It is a new hybrid section, and more importantly, it now counts directly toward your total score, contrary to the old integrated reasoning, which didn't affect your main score at all. Total testing time has gone down from 3 hours and 7 minutes to 2 hours and 15 minutes. Each of the 3 sections, quant, verbal, and data insights, are 45 minutes with 64 questions in total. Cutting out the essay alone removed 30 minutes, and the overall redesign trimmed even more from the testing experience. The scoring scale has been completely rebuilt. This is the change that confuses people the most. The old scale went from 200 to 800. The new scale goes from 205 to 805 in 10-point increments. These are not directly comparable numbers. A 700 on the old scale and what looks like 700-ish score today do not mean the same thing because the underlying scoring model is different. Here's the part that matters even more. On the old exam, only quant and verbal counted toward your total score. Today, all 3 sections, quant, verbal, and data insights, are scored on the same 60 to 90 scale and all count equally towards your final score. If you're someone who was strong in quant and weak in something like integrated reasoning under the old system, you could coast. That's not possible anymore. A weak score in any one of the 3 sections today can pull down your total, and schools are increasingly looking at section level performance, not just the main score. You also get a much more detailed score report at no extra extra cost. Previously, if you wanted a detailed breakdown of your performance, by question type, by content area, by how you managed your time, you had to pay an additional fee for what was called the enhanced score report. Today, that level of detail comes by default with your official score report. This is extremely useful for your prep in case you get a low score or are planning to reattempt the GMAT for whatsoever reason. And one structural change that I really appreciate is section order choice and the ability to bookmark and edit answers. On the current exam, you can choose the order in which you attempt the 3 sections. You can also bookmark questions you are unsure about and revisit them before submitting that section within the time limit. The old exam didn't give you this flexibility at all. Once you answered a question, it was locked in. A lot of content online frames the current GMAT as easier because it's shorter and has fewer dreaded sections with no geometry, no essay, no sentence correction, so much flexibility. But the analytical demands on the questions that remain haven't gotten softer. If anything, the redesign was meant to sharpen the test's focus on the skills that business schools actually care about: data interpretation, quantitative reasoning, and critical thinking under time pressure. So don't walk into this thinking it's a lighter version of the old test. It's a different test with its own demands, and it deserves its own dedicated prep strategy. Here are 5 things that I recommend to everyone that I mentor. First, stop using outdated prep material. If a study guide, app, or video is teaching sentence correction rules, geometry formulas, or essay writing strategy, that material is built for a test that no longer exists. Make sure whatever you are using is explicitly updated for the current Focus Edition format. Second, don't carry over old score targets without translating them. If a mentor or an old blog post told you to aim for 720, figure out what that actually means in today's 205 to 805 scale, and more importantly, check your target school's current median GMAT score, not their historical 700-point scale benchmark. Schools have recalibrated their expectations to the new scale, and you should too. Third, treat all 3 sections as equally important. Because data insights now counts fully towards your score, you cannot afford to treat it as a lesser priority the way people used to treat integrated reasoning. If your total score looks strong, but one section is notably weaker than the other 2, that imbalance can actually raise a flag for admissions committees because it suggests an inconsistency in your underlying skills. Fourth, build stamina differently. The exam is shorter overall, but because there's only one break in the current format, you will face a stretch of about 90 continuous minutes of scored testing either before or after that break. That's a different kind of mental endurance test than the old exams' 2-break structure. Practice full-length mocks under the actual current format, not the topic-wise practice, so your mental stamina is built for the real test day rhythm. Fifth, use the score preview and section order options strategically. Since you can choose which section to attempt first, think about your own strengths. Some people like me prefer starting with their strongest section to build confidence early, and also because if my weaker section goes bad, I don't want to take that disappointment and stress to my stronger section and doom that too. Others prefer getting their weakest section out of the way while their energy is still the highest. There's no universal right answer. You should make this decision during your practice tests. Try different strategies if need be, but don't leave this decision to the last minute or wing it on the actual exam day. It will cost you more than you realize. If you would like help building a study plan specifically around the current format or want guidance on how to interpret your section-wise scores and set the right target, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation call with me through the link in the description box. It's also pinned in the comments section. Drop your GMAT prep questions in the comments. I read every single one of them and I'll answer in as much detail as possible. Like the video if it helped, share it with someone who's just starting their GMAT journey, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching.